Peace, family. Welcome to another episode of Underground Railroad Productions. This your host, Brother Rich. As you can see, I got three guests with me today. You all know Red Pill on the left. I want to allow the other two sisters to introduce themselves to the family.
Hi, Peace family. My name is Asisat. Nice to meet you all. Again, yes.
For the second time, right? Some of them remember.
This is the second time.
Guys.
Peace family, my name is Shatavia, but some of you may know me as Conjurequeen on my YouTube channel. Peace.
Okay, so it's a pleasure to have all three of y'all here, in particular the two sisters. I appreciate you coming through here. Me and Red Pill said we're gonna make a concerted effort to get more feminine energy on the YouTube channel. I want to deal with relationships more this year. I feel as though it's very important that that's the root of the black, of everything, basically.
We call it affairs of the heart.
Right. And that.
Affairs of
Yeah. So, a hot topic, Red Pill just, just spoke it.
Well, I did a little bit of social experiment the other day on social media, and I put up a post which basically asked a question: in a relationship, if your mate is not conscious, will it work? And I had a resounding, it was a plethora of engagement or answers, you know what I mean? The idea is to engage your audience and whatnot. So people really like that topic. I'm talking about it's a hot button. And I figured that we need to really look into this actual question because it's the basis of what we're all here to do. And that's to, we all are in our pursuit of happiness by way of our path of enlightenment. And we're on the quest of man and woman know thyself. And what better way to know thyself than to know you better? So, yeah.
So, I guess I'll start like this. Since we're talking about, would you be with a mate that's not conscious, quote unquote conscious in your conscious? And conscious just means to be aware. You could be aware of history, you could be aware of health, you could be aware of a lot of things, spirituality. So basically,
what about woke?
Woke. Oh yeah, that's the commercial term. Woke.
Yeah.
Woke. Right.
It doesn't have another meaning though. We have to explore that.
Yeah, that's true.
Because it's looking like it does.
Well, before I get into the questions, why don't all three of y'all answer that? Give your take on, would you be with somebody who's not conscious, whatever that means in your world? Would you be with somebody that's not conscious, whatever that means in your world? And the same to you, Red Pill. Okay. So we'll start out like that. Good. Oh, you can start. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll start. Would I be with somebody that's not conscious? Well, first I want to say that one of my previous relationships actually did not work because I met this individual when I was kind of like in the crossroads between like being reborn, like my old self, and coming into my new self, like rising up and becoming more awake. Now the thing is, as I was growing, my partner was stuck in his ways, and even though I wanted to raise him up and bring him to the level where I was going, he really didn't want to go in that path. So eventually I had to make a choice, and it was either choose self or go or stay with him and stay stuck. But I didn't want to stay stuck. I knew that I had to keep going, so I had to leave that relationship. So it really depends on the individual, you know what I'm saying? In the place that I am right now, I don't think I can really be with somebody that's not conscious because we don't have any similar things to talk about. You want to talk about, like, no offense to love and hip hop, but I'm not really into that type of thing. Like, it's just entertainment. But when you worship that like a religion or a Bible, you have to rush and see it every day, then it kind of says something about you. And also, like, the type of music, the foods you eat, it just doesn't work out. So, yeah, I don't think I could do it.
Well, my definition of being conscious is more like somebody who's aware. And I feel like that's just a starting point. There's so many different things to be aware of in the society, especially in relation to how it affects you personally. Yeah. So when it comes to dealing with someone would I date someone who's conscious? I think it goes a little bit deeper than that. I think it's just a matter of meeting people where they're at because there's so many different levels to to consciousness. But I do believe ultimately it stems from you. You know what I mean? It stems from the knowledge and the information that now you are aware of, and how that's affecting you mentally, spiritually, physical, and things of that nature. So I feel like maybe somebody might not be categorized as being a conscious person, but I guess it just depends on, where their mind is at that time. They may not necessarily be labeled as being conscious, but if there's somebody who, is working on bettering themselves, I think it's definitely worth a shot. And you're growing, so the other person, you should give the other person an opportunity to grow as well. And if the potential is there, I think that's the key word for me, is potential. If because to me also, another thing when we talk about being conscious is, when you are aware and awake, sometimes there's a great burden on your shoulders, and it comes great responsibility. So a lot of people have that within them, but sometimes it takes the right person to kind of pull it out. So yeah, I guess all of that is just to say, for me, I'm at a place in my life where I genuinely have peace of mind, and I generally have, a spirit for the most part that is at peace. And anything that comes into my circle that shakes that a little bit, whether you identify yourself as being conscious or not, you're not going to be, in my inner circle, because it took me a long time to get to where I'm at. So I'm not going to allow anybody, regardless of what definition they fall under, it doesn't matter how aware they are. If you're bringing me down and you're trying to say me down spiritually, then it's not going to work regardless.
Oh, okay. Dope. So the question is, am I willing to deal with somebody that's on a different frequency?
And
It's WBLS.
and let me elaborate a little bit on it for you, Red. You selling, your shirts or something. Let's say you on 2/5. Let's say you got your shirts out on 2/5, and a sister comes to the table. She don't give a fuck about Kemet. She doesn't care about crystals. She doesn't care about yoni eggs and all that other shit.
Yes.
But she's a good person. She got a good heart. You know what I'm saying? She's still into Jesus, matter of fact. Are you going to give this sister, and she's standing side by side with a sister who's coming down and she talks to the stars and all that fancy stuff? Are you going to immediately throw that other sister? Are you going to immediately disregard that other sister for the sister that's dressed in, the more cultural gear? Does it matter to you?
What you gonna do?
Well, she could be the help. And I'm saying that in a sense where she could be a muse, and she could be somebody that I could begin to test my skills with, to see if I'm actually at the level of mastery where I can raise someone's frequencies to a higher level, because water rises to its highest frequency. Facts? Higher, when you deal with waves and things of that nature, they're supposed to level out on the highest, like get on my level type of stuff. So it's not about me lowering myself to her level. It's about setting the bar very high and seeing if she's attempting to rise up to levels of such heights. Now, I would not disregard her friendship, because that, in a sense, I'm not going to utilize a double standard, and I'm not going to utilize how it's different between women having guys in the friend zone when they might just want to hit, right? Where they're like, yo, there's no such thing as a friend. What was you saying? You know what I'm saying? It's either it is or it's not. I'm not going to be your friend. And then there's some women that are like, yo, I ain't going to be your friend. What, you gay or something? I don't want to be your friend. I want to hit, right? People are aggressive these days. But if the sister wants to build, if the sister wants to learn, because what she has to recognize, and what I would have no problem letting her know, is that when she met me, I was on the path. Anything to take me off of that path, any detour, any obstacle, anything to reroute my path is an impedant. You're impeding on my path of enlightenment. So on that path of enlightenment, knowing that we're spiritual beings having a human experience, this movie has interesting plot twists and turns. I would give it up for somebody coming in the middle of the movie. You know what I'm saying? It's interesting to the movie. But what I won't do is I won't look past the sister that was standing next to her who is on a higher vibration, I would probably focus on her first. I did the looks thing. I tried all of that shit out. It doesn't work. Okay, it's not real because she's mad fly. You know what I mean? Because of her body shape, she has perfect ovals and stuff. All of that is for it's all surface. It is all surface. We live in a day and times, and I have to always keep in point about who I am and where I am in the story and where I am on the chessboard. So nobody ever in the history of mankind was able to play chess on higher levels, on 3 levels, and your queen was sliding all over the place, and niggas could slide up on her because she watches World Star religiously, because she watches Love and Hip Hop, and they have not taught her how to socially communicate with people in a healthy manner that would signify and show that you are a part of civilization and that you're civilized. So if you're functioning at a lower frequency, and if you're moving in a way where people have already, figured it out, like, yo, she's moving like a thot, because they already have preconceived notions as to the patterns, it's behaviors. They look for these things. Like if a shorty come through with a head wrap and she has a long arm, they like, yo, that's a bad dude chick. There's patterns to it. They're trying to smell the patchouli oil. You feel me? There's just certain things that they'll say to you, like peace queen, Hotep. Now they saying Hotep. Some, they were on Twitter, so they're like Hotep queen. They tried it, Hotep empress. So they're peeping the pattern. It might be a pattern dress. And they're peeping the hairdo. She's natural. She has an ankh on. That's not a cross. We can't hit her with the lower frequency Jesus shit. Because a group of girls could come through from church. Niggas is like, yo, what the fuck? What's poppin'? Take that shit off and let's get it. You feel me? I got that loud. You know what I'm saying? But I've seen them be disrespectful to hoteps because you got some goddesses out there. All right? And they know about it because you have some sisters who are claiming conscious, claiming enlightened, claiming goddess, but their counterpart, the people who they choose to share their yoni egg with, the people who they let inside of their sacred womb, the people who they running around with, mixing their energies and all of these other things, they are not equally yoked. So with that comes, they don't even respect their culture. They don't even respect what they about. They don't respect their path. So they pulling them, they like the goddamn Little Red Riding Hood. These niggas is the wolf hopping out the woods, dragging them in, taking them off the path and taking them into the fucking bando or into Ratchetville. Turning them out, slutting them out, dogging them out, doing whatever they do in that world. You dig what I'm saying? Not caressing the temple. Like a bull in a china store. And then they let him go. And then she comes around with the angry vagina. Okay. Yoni egg on fire.
Well,
So
I just wanted to respond to that. Well, to go back on your question, just because a sister looks a certain way does not necessarily mean that she's at a certain level. So with the example you gave of 2 females coming to his counter or coming to his, table to buy merchandise, just because one is dressed to the T, in a respectful manner does not mean that spiritually she's on that level. So I feel like that's kind of, the same use of judging a book by its cover, because there's some women out there who, it could be in the summertime, she can come through, booty shorts, everything all out, this, that, and the third. But if we don't know what her past is, we don't know if that's how she's been accustomed to receive, beauty and things like that. So even though, all that stuff is out for her, it may be beyond, physical. That might just be, the way she's been taught to express herself, but that's not necessarily an indicator of what's going on in her mind. Just like a sister who's dressed to the T, that doesn't necessarily mean, it might give an illusion that she's walking a particular path, but that's the same thing with, a lot of religions. Just because you see somebody walking around with a cross on, or you see someone with hijab on their head, does not necessarily mean that they are spiritually connected to the doctrine in which they identify with. So, I do think a big part of it really comes to getting to know one another. She got you.
She got you.
I think that's our biggest issue, is that we don't take time to truly love one another. Before there comes a romantic love, before there comes a sexual love. Yes, we know the first reaction, you're a physical attraction to someone, you get the physical attraction and all that. That goes without saying, but I feel like a big thing that we need to work on as a people is to learn to genuinely understand where we're each coming from and to have a genuine love for one another before we can even start talking about, oh, I see you as a man. I should be able to have a connection with you, on a spiritual level that's completely independent, whether you're a man or a woman, first, before, now I start to look at you as a man or I start to look at you as a woman. Sure. I think that's really the first thing we as Black people need to start doing is genuinely loving each other before we even start talking about relationships and shit like that. Because quite frankly, if a lot of us did not, jump into head first, our physical instincts, a lot of us would not be in many of the predicaments that we find ourselves in now.
I wanted to just quickly add on to what she was saying, where I'm agreeing in totality about not judging a book by its cover. Conditioning.
You said the other sister could be your help.
Huh?
You threw the other sister under the bus.
No, I didn't throw her under the bus. What I said that after building with both, I said that naturally my preference would be for the sister who fits the look or looks conscious first.
Right.
But what I said that is I wouldn't throw both of the sisters away like that, even if the sister who looks mad good, but she's spiritually, going back to what you were saying, if underneath all of the underneath the smoke and mirrors, no disrespect, but underneath the we're in this matrix, so underneath the illusion of what may be the most beautiful and all of this stuff, what if the spirit is wrong? What if the energy, what if there's parasites? You know what I mean? Like, what if the mind is completely European?
Yeah.
So after vetting or after building, after taking it from the top down, like you said, women are more into sapiosexual relationships. They're spiritually, they're falling in love spirit first these days. Like, they're into people's minds and stuff like that. More so than that whole physical. The physical comes later on. And I'm like, I would have to find out where that person was frequency wise, where they're vibing at, where their frequencies is at. Because I was in a previous relationship with a sister who didn't fit. She, like, the same thing when me and her met during a transaction. You dig what I'm saying? She did not fit the bill of a quote-unquote hotep sister or a shea butter. That's what they be saying. I didn't make the name up. Or a conscious queen or a goddess. I'm just using the terms that people may be familiar with. Not to say that she had wild, long, silky Hawaiian. She had natural hair. You know what I mean? But she just was moving like a regular chick, a regular sister. And you cannot tell consciousness by outfit these days. Take it from me. I encounter people from all walks of life. I've learned throughout 10 years and being in New York, dealing with the community, to be less judgmental. I may have been more puritanical in the beginning in my ignorance as to what consciousness looked like. You dig what I'm saying? But I begun to relax that, and it opened up the experience for multiple people expressing themselves or me receiving them. Because if I had that wall up and I was on some old, puritanical, this is how you're supposed to look. You gotta smell like Egyptian musk. You understand? Your shit gotta be a certain length. You know what I mean? I need tips tanned and everything, and all of these things. I know people who have a list. They have a list of what they want and what they will not go for. What I've learned to understand, it boils down to the spirit. It boils down to the frequency, and it boils down to what is her purpose. If our purposes match, if we are on the same path, if we have the same mission, you could look like Beyonce. You understand? We gonna work this thing out, and may the best woman or may my highest frequency win. Because I'm gonna have an intention as to what I may be like, yo, she'll look even more beautiful with locks. But maybe I would have to create that within my mind, and if we have a positive energy and we're able to compromise, while we get to know each other, and when I say it to her, it's not as an insult. She's like, yo, I'll do anything for you, King. You dig what I'm saying? So if you think that would make me look more royal and more divine, and you explain to me how it's cancer causing, and you show me the scalps and all of this other stuff, and we watch Good Hair with Chris Rock, Netflix and chill, all of that stuff.
Well, let me ask you this. I forgot who I asked this question to. I think it was Supernova Slump, but since you three are here, I want to ask you. There's a lot of situations where a brother may talk to his sister. He gets with her, kicks his game, convinces her that, when he gets with her, she may have a perm. By the time they get in a relationship, she gets rid of the perm. She's like, yo, he's going to appreciate me for my natural beauty. So she starts to grow her locks or natural hair or braids or whatever. Once they break up, she goes back to the perm. What went wrong in that relationship where she went natural during the relationship, but after the relationship was over, she went back to her old way of having a perm? What went wrong where it didn't stick with her?
Well, I want to just first add on that. I feel like if she went back and permed her hair after she broke up, that's not something that she authentically wanted to do. She just did that to please him, and I feel like
anything wrong with that?
I feel like whenever you don't do something for yourself, and you're just doing something to please other people, then it's a lot wrong. Yeah, it's not genuine.
Mm-hmm.
So people can naturally sense when you're fronting or when you're doing something just to please them, and that's why a lot of relationships don't work out, because people are not doing it for themselves; they're doing it to please their partner. You have to take care of self. Like you were saying, you have to love self first, and then everything else comes naturally. So if she genuinely was into, going natural, and then actually pursuing the level of like consciousness and coming into her true goddess self, then she wouldn't have went backwards. That's just how I feel personally.
I absolutely agree with my sister over here. She's right on. I can only kind of speak on basically my experience, and I feel as though when it comes to connecting with someone else, I believe that consciousness is something that you feel. It's not necessarily something that is spoken, because we say a lot, but it's always shows in our action. So for me, it's kind of like if Shorty decided to go natural because she was with someone. I mean, was she really, understanding the benefit of it for herself? Because we're not going to be motivated to do anything to better ourselves if we don't understand what the benefit is. So maybe sister never really understood the benefit of, going natural. Maybe for her hair truly was, or is, what she considers, a staple of her beauty. And if she's with a particular man and he likes her hair this way and she'll do it that way, and she's with someone else and they like, her hair this particular way, for her that might not necessarily be a symbol of consciousness. That doesn't necessarily mean that she's not conscious. There's I have a lot of sisters out here who don't want to lock their hair, who don't want to go natural, because they love being able to constantly change up their styles and stuff like that. Again, I feel like that's still bringing up what conscious looks like. I mean, just because you rock natural hair does not mean that you're conscious. Just because you love wigs or weaves. I mean, to a certain degree, yes, there might be, an underlying level that needs to be addressed. But for the most part, a lot of black women sometimes just like to change it up. I mean, I know a lot of black sisters who are very, very aware of, the oppression that we as a people are going through, are very aware of the issues that face us. And they love to put wigs in their hair. I mean, that doesn't necessarily, it's not an indicator of consciousness. I think it really always boils down to your actions. I feel like when somebody has reached a certain level, because again, there's so many different levels to being conscious. Once you reach a certain level of consciousness and you start to realize the importance, or you start to realize how you can actually apply a lot of things that you're learning to your own self, that's really when you're going to truly be awakened. So for me, it's all about the energy that the person brings, and unfortunately, their exterior may not 100% necessarily be the best indicator if the person, is conscious. Like, just like how you're not gonna go for, a particular, I don't know, it's just like having a list. Your man gotta be tall, dark, and handsome. It's all about appearances, and consciousness is deeper than that. It's not how someone looks. It's all about their actions, and in order for you to really know somebody's actions, it's about getting the time to genuinely know them.
Well, yeah. And I would say that because we live in this age of Aquarius, the tools that it would take for two people to get to know each other faster are available, especially in this age of technology, especially with the access to the diviners, you know, the rise of the divination systems, you know, the fact that you could practice it more freely now. It's not as suppressed and looked down upon as it was before. Like, I was in a relationship in 2012, and when me and the Queen met each other, we went to two elders, Jerry Miller and Sandra Frazier in Atlanta, and they are diviners, you know, they're conjurers, you know, and what they did is they gave us a reading before our first date. Like, we met each other and went right to them the next day to get a reading and to have them sit down. We didn't tell them our intentions or, you know, anything. They explained everything to the T that we were like, how did you know that? And they were able to lay certain things out, and they gave us a timetable that we were gonna be together, and they were on point. So we went further, and we went on the computer and did the compatibility. We went further than that. We went ahead and did some chart work, you know what I'm saying? All of these things, because what we have to always keep in mind is the possibilities of procreating with the one that you're with. You know, at the age that I'm at right now, it's not about casual sex. You understand? It's not just about sleeping around. I'm not fighting at this age. I'm looking to build, you know, sustainable relationships that will last. You know what I mean? Once you have, once you procreate, you're with that person forever. You know, and you have to deal with that person, even if that person is not going to willingly elevate, you know, to the level or to the frequency where you find yourself. You know what I'm saying? Thus, maybe endangering the child by not doing such. There's different levels of consciousness in these days and age, because there's no orientation to what it is to be conscious. There's no school, there's no one-on-ones. It's basically you're winging it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you watch Hidden Colors and you go online and you wing it. You know, you watch Boondocks. You're like, hashtag woke, and you wing it. You watch something on the news where one of our brothers or sisters get killed. You know, that Khaled and you wakes up. That Hannibal Barker, that, you know, Queen Nzinga wakes up. You're woke. You know what I mean? So, but then you approach it from the surface first, meaning that you think that it's a book, you think that there's a look, you think that this is so. In some relationships,
your attention first.
Facts. So in those relationships, we always have to ask ourselves, where was she at in her orientation? Did she get it? You know what I mean? Or did she just come in and she felt like she had to do the natural hair thing? Like I said, the previous relationship that I was in, I saw her do the natural hair thing and struggle and try out mad hairdo. She was on YouTube with all of them channels trying to figure it out. You know what I mean? Frustrated, telling me how much the shampoos and all of that cost and which one wasn't organic and all of these. It's a whole culture. So I didn't look at her like she was trying to front for me. This was something that she genuinely wanted to do. But sometimes people may give up on it and be like, yo, I'm just trying to, you know, I got to go back to where you know what I'm saying? It's like if you meet a brother and, you know, he's on his vegan path and then you wind up breaking up with him, he starts going back to, you know, Roy Rogers and, you know what I mean? He's back to eating the meat and you see him and whatnot. He's blown. He's all, you know what I mean? The gut is back and everything. And he was like, yo, I was with it because I had that balance. Going back to the initial question, can you be in a relationship with somebody who's not on your path with you, who's not frequency-wise with you? Because that person is going to be your motivator. That person is going to be the one who's going to check you. It's like going to work out. You need a spotter. You know what I mean? So that person is going to pull you up when you slip in. Why are we in relationships? If not to strengthen our weaknesses, if not to take advantage of our strengths. But wherever you may be weak at, I'm equally yoked with you. I'm supposed to pull your ass up and be like, chill with the hair wig or the hair hat. You know what I'm saying? Let that shit breathe. Like, I got you. I know it's levels to it, but
there's a level of, but you're right. There's a level of balance, though. Yeah, absolutely.
It's a level of balance. What I want to know that I begin to see is how is it that you come into consciousness and you inundate yourself with the master teachers who stood on principle, who stood on code, who stood on black power, who stood on information that was given to you that you did not receive in the schooling that you are in debt for $100,000 for, that you did not receive through the media. And what they told you in explicable terms is that the opposite race in this law, in this world where there's the laws of duality, where they try to trick you and say that everyone is equal. The scientists came and said, rhesus monkey, they're not real. The sociologists came and said, social engineering, they fooled us. The goddamn historians said, they fresh out of the cave, disease ridden, they brought forth all kind of backwards culture. They're almost a virus. Other people came to spiritualists and said, that's your Rugal, they got demons in it. What is it that makes the sisters break up with the brothers and go right to these crackers? What part is that? Fuck the hair. What is it about when a conscious sister breaks up with a conscious brother? She goes right to these fucking I'm seeing it. Yeah, they all in the festivals, they all online.
So wait, hold up. So you say in particular the conscious sisters are going to white males after they leave the brothers. That's what you're saying?
I'm saying that the conscious brothers as well, but the trend, we're talking trends. They was doing that shit they were trending for a long time. The new trend is called twirling or swirling. Swirling does not apply to niggas because that's not what swirling is. Swirling is that Serena shit. Swirling is our sisters running around with Salt Bay.
Everybody's mad at Serena. I used to leave her alone.
Swirling is running around with these.
She need to explain that. Let her.
Yeah, swirling is, not even interracial dating, revenge dating. You understand? Revenge porn. You're not just getting with homie because you did the research on Europeans in the conscious community and it showed you who they were, it showed you who you were, so you're probably like, fuck that. I'm gonna dominate. I'm the dominant gene, right? So I'm gonna get me a white boy because not only does he treat me better, I'm able to, there's an opposite going on. I learned that I breastfed them when they were babies as a mammy. I learned that, they're easier to manipulate, they're easier to deal with, they're easier to talk to, whatever the hell is the reasoning behind this mass exodus that we're beginning to see with our sisters when shit goes wrong though. It's not when, so it's like, damn, if you really love that motherfucker, why wasn't you with him before? When we was in high school, why you wasn't chasing him then? But because of social, there's movies out. There's all of these retarded ass shows. Black women are watching porn. They're watching white boys thrash the sisters. I'm seeing the switch. They're showing you all of these socially engineered MTV stars. What's his name? Edward Sheenan. He's a homo, but he's in videos kissing up our sisters. The Robin Thicke who beat up Paula Patton. They marketed him as the great white hype to our sisters. All of these things are going on through social, but there's a revenge movement. It's intricately related to the We Hate Men movement, and it's telling them to swirl.
As a black woman, there's no revenge against black men. I definitely don't think so. I have sisters, I have cousins, I have friends, plenty black women in my circle. And we definitely don't hate black men. As a matter of fact, we love black men. Black men, we love y'all. We love y'all.
Yes.
Y'all needs to get it together.
Yes,
that's really what it comes down to.
Yes,
because we want to keep it real. At the end of the day, a woman wants to feel as though she can be protected.
Facts.
You understand? And unfortunately, what I'm seeing within this conscious community, quote unquote, which I don't really even like to identify as
let's just say the black community.
The black community. The black community, the portion of the community that is woke, bothered, and capable of doing something to reverse the conditions that we find ourselves in. That's the population that I'm talking about.
Yes.
What I do find is that it seems as if a lot of us are either poor and righteous, or we got money and some way, somehow, now we turn our backs on our people. And it seems like you can't walk both lines, but ultimately, regardless of whatever experiences we're going through, we still live in a world in which we need to be able to pay bills. we need to be able to, provide for our children and provide for our families. And unfortunately, a lot of our black men are not in a position to do so. Now, I'm not a proponent of, you got to go to college, you got to get a degree, you got to get a PhD. But what I am saying is that we as a black community need to start making money for ourselves, and we need to start, really strengthening our economic structure, because once, we start having sustainable jobs where we can actually provide for one another, by building each other up, then you're gonna definitely see a change in, the relationships that we have. But it's difficult to sit there and say that you want to be with somebody who is not able to financially bring anything to the table. And I'm not saying that, conscious black men don't have any money. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that a real issue as to why, a lot of our women turn, to the other way is because ultimately it's kind of like, I need someone who's going to be able to provide for me, who's going to be an equal partner in this thing that I'm trying to do, in this family that I'm trying to build. It's one thing to have kids. It's something completely different to build a family. That takes, it takes a lot of energy, and unfortunately a lot of our black men are not ready to bring it on that level, I don't think. I feel as though when it comes to being a partner in a relationship, you got to be there mentally, spiritually, and physically. And sometimes a lot of our men are not able to juggle all three, if that makes any sense. But like I said, black men, we do love you, but ultimately, there's some things that, you guys need to do as well to kind of, give us reason to stay. Like, it's hard for black women as well. We struggle every day to try to make ends meet. We really should be, striving and struggling together, but it's like sometimes,
Well, what about the brothers that they're gonna watch this and they're gonna comment in the little YouTube comment section, and they're gonna tell you that the black women benefit from white supremacy way more than black men. It's way easier for a black woman to get a job. It's way easier for a black woman to sit under Donald Trump than a grown-ass man sitting under Donald Trump like Omarosa is doing right now. So they were saying you talking all this shit about finances, but you don't understand what the black man is up against. We're up against something different from what you're up against. What would you say to that? Are they lying? Is it not true?
It's true, but that doesn't mean that it's impossible. Ultimately,
Definitely.
And this is why it comes back again to self-development. Family, at the end of the day, whether you're looking to be in a relationship or whatever, anything that you want in this world, anything, there's nothing that's impossible. Anything that you want, you can have, but it starts with self. You have to develop yourself. If you want to be financially set, that starts with self. If you want a good lifelong partner, that starts with self. If you want a strong, lasting family relationships, all of that starts with self. There is such a thing. Yes, it's achievable to be wealthy. I'm not wealthy right now. I'm striving because I genuinely do believe, financially as far as monetary wise, because I genuinely do believe all of that starts with yourself. So it's kind of like, it's so easy to jump on the bandwagon and be like, well, this is the reason why we don't have this. This is the reason why we're not in that position, or whatever the case may be. But are we really looking at what we as individuals, what are we individually doing to better ourselves? If you're in a situation where you're not happy with financially, you have the power to change it. It may not be as easy for you as it might be for someone else, but that does not mean that it's impossible. You know what I mean? And it's like, sometimes it's such a heavy burden that maybe you may not be ready to be in a relationship at that point, because when it comes to you, trying to get your money together, sometimes it takes more time and energy than you can afford to have in a relationship. So it's kind of like, we all need to focus on self, and we need to be able to be honest and open with ourselves and see what is it that we need to work on, what is it that's been holding us back from whatever dreams and goals that we want.
Can I?
You and that, yeah. You've been kind of quiet.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was just letting her finish, but I can't really speak on why a lot of conscious black women are leaving the brothers to go to the white guys. But I can say that probably a week ago, there was a post of a girl on my Facebook, and she supposedly is, conscious. And she said that she's done with dating all these conscious guys, and she posted up a picture of her dating this white dude, and she was saying basically what you were saying that
You as in Red Pill? What you talking about?
no.
Oh, what? This is okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
What she was saying was like it has a lot to do with like being able to provide. She said that the whole conscious movement is cool and everything. It sounds good. She was like, but she's getting tired of being with a guy that's not able to provide and to not being able to like do the things that she want to do financially, because we still do live in this material world. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, she was like, I can't be with a guy that's still sleeping on his mother's couch. Like I'm ready to move forward. And I'm noticing too, like there's a lot of guys that's in the conscious community that's saying that they're about that life, and they're really not. It's like, okay, it's cool when you just, like, it's not cool when you just posting up videos of memes and things like that saying that you for the people and black economics and all of this, but you're not really supporting black businesses. You're always asking for free handouts. Like, I have my own business, and there's been plenty of times when my own people will come to me and always ask for like free stuff or discounts, and other people just willingly just give me money. And I'm not saying that's everybody, but that's a problem that we have. How can we grow economically if we're always asking for handouts, if we're not willing to support each other? Exactly. So in order for us to build ourselves financially, then we have to support each other. But yeah, as far as like the black men, as you were saying, Rich, that yeah, there is a problem with white supremacy suppressing black men, and the system is set up that way, where black women are supposed to thrive and do better than the black man, so that we can't look down on the black man like, damn, you can't even provide for me, you can't do nothing for me, so I'm gonna go ahead over here with homie. As Red was saying, the system is set that way. But we have to be able to work together. It's not impossible for black men to rise up, because it's happening now. Right. Like you look all around, people are waking up. More black businesses are booming. We're supporting each other more. We're boycotting a lot of these white supremacist companies, big businesses, because now people are realizing that they're not really for our people. They're not here to help us. We can only help ourselves. Everything starts with self first. Yeah. So that's my take on it.
One of the caveats to the whole swirling thing is the fact that, some of these white peckerwoods have frequent flyer plans. These niggas is on MLM travel clubs, and they happen to be able to bring black women out the country. They're able to bring black women a few dollars when they get it. So, because we live in this society where prostitution has become normalized through hip hop, through the niggas, right? And going back to the hand of the European, I say the Jew, because when he did what he did in San Fernando Valley, the same time when the other Jew, Jerry Heller, was doing what he was doing in Compton, San Fernando Valley being the porn, that I always go back to that, because people don't want to talk about the underlying principle of the fucking elephant in the room and the thing that made the internet, and that's what controls a lot of the way that people look at women socially in this society, because it is such a phenomenon, and it's like a shadow world that people don't want to admit, they don't want to talk about it, but that's where young men, that's where white men, Asian, Indians, and others get to begin to see our women in, some of the most sacredest positions, and doing some of that shit has an adverse effect on reality. You don't understand that. People do not understand that. There's certain things that you cannot proliferate and show in society and expect for this shit to function freely. Now, the whole swirling thing is an offshoot of the drug culture. It's an offshoot of the crack rap culture and things of that nature, where shit, y'all talking about y'all want somebody to protect you. If I come in the house with a whole bunch of guns and some crack money, I'm good.
But you know what? I think.
Just hold on.
But it's this
I know,
even bigger issue.
I know. Let me build. In the 80s and the 90s, through the culture, through the music, like I said, we belong to a culture that has devolved into a death culture. So people were willing to accept killers, drug dealers, people who were naturally working for the enemy against our own people. They collapsed the family structure during the crack era. Black women, post whatever the fuck happened in that Claudine era, where they started kicking the men out the house and offering government assistance, right? And begin the process of splitting us up through the what's that administration? It started with it really started with the Nixon administration, and then it went into Reagan. Reagan and broke it, and then Clinton and a few other people. So a lot of the men these were young, brilliant, you know what I mean? Potential. These men had a lot of potential. The results or the fallout of that conflict or that war or that era is being seen on levels we still are not able to see all of the fallout. Mm-hmm. A lot of people's value system, their moral systems, and all kind of other systems got eroded during those eras where women were willing to accept men who were committing crimes and doing things, crimes against their own race, crimes against humanity, just turning a blind eye. Men, at the same time, were also indulging in the culture through the music, and they were utilizing their money as a means to suppress or as a means to oppress. Almost similar to what the quote-unquote white man did to them. Almost similar to how capitalism broke our people from what it is that, when our grandparents and how we had values and, what we would do for $1 versus what we won't do for $1, how family was more important than money, how, the structure, being happy did not necessarily equate to a motherfucking dollar sign. Like, you could be happy being around me without having to know how much I was about to spend on you.
And that's what I was going to say, because...
I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to wrap up that whole thing about how...
I just wanted to jump on what you just said, yeah.
Go ahead. Please.
Well, one thing that we got to be clear is, yes, finances, and correct me, sister, if I'm wrong. Yes, finances play a big part into, keeping... your relations together when it comes to a black woman, absolutely. But for me, and I guess all I can speak for is myself, I feel as though when we talk about balance, if we know, right, that it's harder for a black man, we understand that, it is easier for black women to get positions of power, better paying jobs, things like that. Okay, let's put that out there. But to me, an even bigger issue besides a man not being able to provide is this infidelity.
Sure.
Is a man not truly committing himself to what he has produced. So my thing is this: if I feel like, yes, my man hasn't worked, okay, but if I come home and my man is doing something, so he may not be able to, in this particular point in time, have a job where he can provide for me and the family, okay, but then how come when I come home, dinner is not being made? When I come home, he's not teaching the children, he's not picking the children up, he's not being involved. There's more to, there's more to being a family than just bringing money in. That's not the only role that a man is supposed to be put in, because even if he does, bring in money, whichever means he brings it in, even if he is bringing money. So is that the reason why we have so many broken homes and so many broken families? No. The biggest reason is because a lot of our men are not willing to take responsibility for what they produce. So even if you, and for me, I personally feel, again, correct me if I'm wrong, sister, but I personally feel like it's not tough to make a woman happy. I don't think it's tough to make a woman happy. I feel like if you genuinely say you want to be in a relationship with someone, then you should make that effort. It just can't be a convenient effort, because then it's not an effort. You can't do what's comfortable for you and then wonder why things is not working. Relationships force you to push yourself. So even if you're not able to bring in money, there's so many other things that men should be doing, and we would still not have the problems we're having now. We have so many children that don't have fathers, and their fathers is not locked up in jail. Why are they not in the homes taking care of their children? Why are they busy out there making more children? So it's kind of like, it's not fair to always throw it on the women, because it's easy to sit there and throw all this stuff on us. But at the end of the day, it's like, there's more to a man than what's in his pockets, and we gotta stop utilizing that as an excuse. Because ultimately, if a man took care of his responsibilities at home, if he was not able to work, but he was contributing in other ways, then that would still be a happy household. The child is not gonna know, oh, my daddy ain't never worked. The child is gonna know their father was always in their life. A child is gonna know that their father taught them, how to act like a king, how to act like a queen, how to be respectful. So there's so many more aspects to why our relationships, within the Black community fail. It's not just about money. There's so many more pieces to that.
That's very true, sis. But I personally, as a Black woman, I personally know women who have guys who cook, who clean, who take care of the kids, but they don't have a job. And the woman doesn't respect the man because he's not exactly like the woman. And I'm not speaking for every Black woman, but that sometimes money does play a huge role in it. A woman expects a man to protect and to provide.
Well, is that part of being a man? Money, just like cooking is a part of. They would say cooking is a part of being a nurturer.
I mean, I'm very old school. My family, they from the South, and I was just brought up a certain way that a woman has certain responsibilities and a man has certain responsibilities. You know what I'm saying? It's balance. If, let's say, for instance, if the woman can't cook, then maybe the man can cook meals, and maybe she might be working. You know what I'm saying? Or vice versa. But I'm just trying to touch upon the topic of just saying, like, money isn't everything. For me personally, it's not. But speaking for other Black women, I know certain friends and people, associates that I talk to, they speak to me, they say that, man, everything is great with him. He's funny, good looks, he's good with the kids, he's great to be around, everything like that. But the thing is, he's not really making no money. And one thing I can say though, a woman would appreciate a man who probably doesn't have it, but he has ambition. If you show that you have that leadership, because
good point.
Every woman wants a leader. Every woman wants to be with a man that knows where he's going. If you don't have $1 in your pocket, but you have like a strong vision and you can show your woman a vision and it's workable, then you guys can make it work. But if you broke and you're not trying to go nowhere, then why should I be with you? Why should I invest my future, my family with you? No, King, you have to show me that I can invest my life in you, because that's a life there. Time. Money you can always get back, but time is something you can never replace.
And I'm glad that you're touching on that, and going back to the point that I was making before you added on, is I was basically getting at that twirling shit. We were still talking about the swirling shit. You understand? The fact that they try to, make sense of the fuckery. And I was just saying that if it was I'm identifying that a lot of these swirlers, the white men, are buying our women's yoni from them. Okay? They're buying some ass. It's cloaked in some other shit. They're on Tinder. They swipe to the left. Oh, he has a boat. Oh, it's secure. No, I'm just saying that there's some honest movements where women are falling in love on some Olivia Pope shit. Okay, I get it. But what I'm saying is there's also a movement where women are prostituting themselves to men that have more money than their quote unquote the nigga who was on the couch. Okay? And these white men know this, and they got white men that study y'all. The same way that you study, I study Neanderthals and crackers. I could run up to a woman from Scandinavia and swoop her off her fucking feet and take her out of the cave. Do you know why? Because I study them. I study the Gothics. I study them. I know where they come from. I could say, yo, Mansa Musa, like a key, that shit is a triple word. You know what I mean? I could just drop keywords on her because I study them. They study you. You don't study a lot of women who are just waking up, or brothers who are just waking up. These people done studied you. So they're speaking to you from a cultural aspect, and you're all enamored because you think he cares about you, he knows your culture, he's into you. That's what you hear. Oh, he's into me. He knows a lot about Ghana and the Adinka symbols. I'm like, really? You went through all of this studying? What kind of hypocrisy would it be if we were in here studying and doing all of this information, all of this time spent, all of these scholars dying, all of these people, you know what I mean? All of this sacrifice just to see our sisters pop up, and they try to intellectualize the treason. And I'm just saying, yo, I'm not, that shit is not to be, I'll never get it. I will never get it. And the purpose of what we were talking about earlier about identifying that there's something going on in our community where we're going to need each other more than ever. And we're going to be, we need to set up social structures or social settings where we could get together in a mature way. The brothers who may not have all of the resources, he needs to find a group of brothers. Because keep in mind, that it's going to have to start from where we're sitting first. Why? Because the woman don't propose to the man. Okay? The woman don't propose to the man. So yes, one of the main problems has to be the man because he's not getting on his fucking knee. He's not proposing, so he's not living up to his end of the bargain. He's not making the sisters feel like even in your quote unquote, even in our incompatibilities, I can still find a way where we can make it. So he's not filling in that part. Why is he not filling in that part? I know a lot of reasons why. Has a lot to do with sometimes men don't have they don't feel like they have what it takes to carry that family. And while we in this conscious community, while we on this path of enlightenment, while we trying to get the fuck out of the drug culture, while we trying to get out of the sex industries and stripping and, you know what I mean, niggas doing stick-ups. I know murderers who need this in order to survive. All right? They're trying to turn everything around. So they're not murdering anymore. Money's slowing up. They're not pitching fucking birds anymore. Money's slowed up. They're reaching out to everybody trying to find a way before they sink. They believing in these fucking teachers out here with these snake oil salesmen and everything. They're betting the house on niggas. They're trying. But we will benefit as a community if we could recognize ourselves as a strong network. We could get away from, we could deal with our core issues. Because if I'm not happy, I can't produce. And I don't know about everybody else, but I'm not no lonely nigga. I'm not just going to be laying around by myself, me and my pillow. I need my counterpart. I need you to give birth to my ideas, going back to what you were saying. Because how could you have a man dead ass broke when you give birth to everything?
But that's where
I'm just saying, hold on. In a very conscious relationship where we understand that I implant the seed and the idea, we're dealing with visualization and we're cleaning up our diet and we're alkaline and you know what I'm saying? And we're meditating and we're tantric and we're doing things on these moons and all of this stuff and we're utilizing sex magic. How the hell can't we manifest something in this matrix, in this holographic universe or this reality? Because if I have a dream and I have a vision, it works in a strip club. It works in a fucking trap. It works in wherever, corporate America. Somebody has an idea, they have a vision, they infuse it into the mind of the woman. It worked in Hidden Figures with that room full of them crackers. They infuse a vision into that sister's mind. She gave birth to it. She made it happen. She made them crackers break the motherfucking astral belt, whatever that shit is. All right? We had a conversation about that the other day when I told you a dude laid some shit on me that it opened my eyes up about the power of the divine feminine, about the power of just being able to have you, for me being in your favor. Not you being in my favor, don't matter. This is your realm, the material realm. You have homosexual friends. You're not having sex with him. You don't have a sexual attraction to him. You love him though. He's all in your mind. He's all in your heart. He's in your favor. Whatever that nigga's like, yo, I want to open up, a dildo shop. You're like, yo, I'm going to help you make it happen. I'm going to pray for you. I'm going to send out energy for you. You got these rappers. They like, yo, if you cater to the women, you're going to win. Why is that? Because they understand by tapping into the divine feminine, we don't have to penetrate you. It's not sexual at the end of the day. It's attraction. It's the fact that you bless us or bliss us. You give us your favor. You're sitting on the throne.
Of course, brother. Wow, you definitely are very passionate, and I appreciate your passion. I really do. And I see what you're saying.
Here comes the shots.
Nah, we're not taking no.
But-
We're not taking shots.
But
However,
However.
we're gonna use the however.
Fact.
I do agree with you as far as how powerful the feminine energy is. It is very powerful. But again, it always comes back down to self. It comes back down to self. What I have seen in a lot of relationships that we have, a lot of our relationships are set up for failure because it doesn't matter, what, perspective you're coming from, what level of, consciousness you're coming from. Just when it comes to two people, coming together and trying to build, as one, a lot of challenges come with that. And to me, the best and the most prosperous relationships stem from individuals who know who they are, who have an understanding of their strengths, who have an understanding of their weakness, who value themselves, who have an understanding of their worth, who actually genuinely respect each other. And this goes for both men and women. If you don't have a certain degree of love for yourself, you are not going to be able to love someone else. If you don't have a general respect, or if you don't have a genuine set of values or morals or ethics that you utilize to bring you through the day, how do you expect to be able to relate to someone else when it comes to, morals and ethics and things like that? A lot of the things that, break our relationships up are due to us not taking the time and being patient to genuinely love one another. Like, what I find is this, my background is from Nigeria. My family's Nigerian. And one thing I've noticed is when it comes to love, Africans' concept of love is completely different than Americans' concept of love. Like in America, you date somebody for a few months, you start getting that feeling, after a while you start to love them. Whereas in Nigeria, it's like after like a day, they're like, oh, I love you. And it's kind of like you're just like, what? But if you really think about it, you coming from a place, and I'm talking about Nigeria, where they're not at the place where, bare necessities are being met. You still have people in Nigeria and Africa, who don't know where their next meal is coming from. So they can't worry about all these other fluffy layers, so to speak. So when it comes to love, like in their mind, love is it's a certain level of obligation is what I found out. When they say that they love you, it's more like, I'm willing to oblige myself to you. I'm willing to commit to you, good or bad, come what may. That to me is what I believe their understanding of love is. And I respect that because I feel like that's what we need to have for one another. Like it should not be taboo to be able to tell somebody that you love them. You understand what I'm saying? Because love is not, it's not like this she frou beautiful word that once is said, everything is, flowers and, everything is all good after that. No, it's real work. And if you genuinely say that you want to be happy, you genuinely say that you want to have a partner in your life who's going to build with you, you got to build within yourself. You have to know what you're bringing to the table. So even if you may not necessarily have a job, that does not make you any less of a man. And if you have a woman who's going to sit there and treat you a certain kind of way, even if you may not have a job, but you holding your weight, you taking care of the children, you making sure that your children are good, you're bringing something to the table, and she's only focusing on you having a job, and she's not the woman for you, because ultimately the things that matter in life really are the free things. So if she's not sitting there and appreciating you for the heart that you have, then ultimately you guys are not going to be together anyway, because we all know money is fictitious, and we all know that money is not necessarily going to buy you happiness. So it's kind of like there has to be a degree of love, understanding, and respect for yourself. So when you come and you meet somebody, you are able to judge if they're going to be equally yoked with you so that you guys can build. But if you don't have that love for yourself, then it's only a matter of time before whatever relationship you get in is going to crumble, because you're not willing to look in the mirror and see yourself for who you are. When you sit there and choose to have somebody in a relationship with you, you're inviting them to come in and see you for who you really are.
Right.
You're inviting them to come in and see you for your strengths and for your weaknesses.
Right.
And you're inviting them to come and speak on your weaknesses. So don't sit there and feel offended when somebody's telling you about yourself, because you should have been knew about yourself before you got into that relationship with them.
Right.
So when we talk about building, every single block starts from an individual. So you gotta really, really get your stuff together if you genuinely expect to be happy with someone else.
Excellent. Going back to what I was just saying right before you said what you had to say about having your queen, your goddess, your woman having to have you in her best favor. Meaning, I want you to win against all fucking odds.
But you got
Hold
to
on.
for yourself.
Hold on. Let me. I was trying to finish. I ain't even done, and you caught me on the way up.
My bad. I tend to
So,
bad.
When you meet a sister, this is the litmus test. I know how good you'll be for me based off of that spark that you give me the minute I meet you.
Energy.
If you make me say, shit, I gotta go to the gym, I might have to start working out again. This looks like, you know what I'm saying? This shit, when I take my shirt off around her a few weeks from now, you understand?
A few weeks from now.
A few weeks from now. When I take the shirt off to flex, I need this shit to, you know what I mean? I need her to remember this shit forever. So I leave an impression upon her that she will never ever forget, because I know based off of the magnetism off the fucking rip that this is a powerful universe that I just met. I'm coming at you from a galactic angle. I'm like, yo, these are two universes coming together and conjoining, and we're gonna be more powerful. But nothing will happen if I don't fucking hop. Remember, we're the active principle. We go out with a hunter-gatherer. We go out and do, but we need the spark. The spark is that love. The spark is, I know that you got me. The spark is, we on a chessboard together. I know that you could go in all the fucking doors that I can't go into. You the queen. You could go sit with these crackers at Nassau. It don't make you more powerful than me. It don't make you better than me. You on the chessboard. You are one man. And men of all races, on all sides of the chessboard, whether they the white pieces or the dark pieces, will let you in the room where they will not let me in the room. You're the key maker. You're the oracle. I get it. Cool. All right. Cool. You know, that's not the end of the fucking game, though, because you can be checkmated as well, because you still need your king with the sword slaying and protecting. So all I'm saying is this, that it takes two to make a thing go right. All we got to deal with at this point is how the hell could we come together as geniuses in this community, as responsible adults, as parents. I'm a parent. Okay? I want more children, and I want a healthy environment for the children that I have. How can we come together and identify the fact that the brothers and sisters in this community, in order for this community, conscious community, like I said before, you're on the path to enlightenment. You saw a sign called Conscious Community, aka Community College. You got off the fucking path and you enrolled in college to learn some shit. In college, you met some ratchet niggas, you met some enlightened ones, you fell in love with your teachers, okay? But you was in college. That's not the end all be all. You might not meet your husband in college. You finished with the college, you feel like you graduated, you got your certificate, you back on the path. Okay, you're on your path, you're so enlightened, you don't see color, you get with Billy Bob, or whatever, I don't care. You understand? Whatever it may be, but you're on your path. So you're in this community, and if you're in this community and you meet somebody, you might have been under the impression that you was in this fantasy fucking world where niggas levitate and they be floating through their house and shit like that, and they could do no wrong, and everything that they say, they do a few tantra breathing, and then a rent just magically appears. And then you're wrong in your assumption, because you did not enter into this whole community knowing that everybody in this community is working on self. So if we let you into our personal life, it's to see the flaws, it's to see the errors. You got motherfuckers on Facebook status updating, shooting at people because of their flaws. And they knew that these motherfuckers was working on themselves. And you got with this person, you didn't get with this person to take over the fucking America. You can't do that right away. You gotta fix yourself. So why would you even come on my line? Why would you even interrupt me on my path if you were not here to work with me? If I met you, hold on, if I met you with $5, the intention is to leave you with $500. We supposed to double up.
But don't you think part of our process too is also to kind of plant the seed for someone else as well? Like, don't you feel like part of the process for enlightenment, since no man is an island, don't you think part of the process too is to try to, plant that seed in someone else also? But shouldn't that also kind of help to kind of strengthen and test what you have, what you thought you knew and how it applies to your own life as well? Because everything that we get told out there may not necessarily be what's best for us, you know what I mean? So when you do meet somebody who may not necessarily be at the same level as you, don't you feel like that is destined for you to have that person interact with you to kind of help build you into a stronger person?
But I was saying that earlier, that if you get with somebody that's not on the same level of you, this is your time to test your powers. Now you're in class. You got to show and prove all of that reading that you was doing, all of them books, all of them late nights on the web and all of that. For what?
You have to know how to
For
fight.
what? You just soaking up all of this information and you don't think that your biggest test is going to be in your relationships? You don't think your biggest test is going to be in your household with your children, with your mama them? What are you talking about? You don't think that your biggest test is going to be the minute you step out of your door? You're in fucking school. You're on the stage. So what I would do is I would realize, once I gathered my toolbox of conscious tricks, plugins and apps and shit like that, that's what the community affords you. You got a fucking tool belt now. So how could you get in a relationship with the other partner don't want to play house with you? They don't even want to acquiesce to your, they don't even want to, they won't let you apply the shit that you learned. They're not playing the game with you. They're not allowing you to try out all of this shit to see if it works. So you done ordered some shit from Amazon. It came right away. You can't even play with it. So you wind up playing with yourself. Okay? So women wind up getting frustrated and they like, damn, my dude don't want to breathe with me tonight. And it's a full fucking moon. Here it is, I have this lapis lazuli stone. Here it is that, I cleansed my yoni egg and I buried it in the dirt and it's gonna, everything that I think about is gonna create. Here it is that I created this vision board, but this nigga is watching the game. This nigga's cutting the crap. He's in the fucking kitchen cooking, listening to Bad and Bougie and shit like that. He's whipping up dope with an Uzi. And here it is, I'm over here trying to do some conscious shit. So you find yourself between a rock and a hard place, out of fucking place, off the board. You're like, why am I here? What are you doing? So you're supposed to be with somebody who is willing to work with you on the level that you're at. You can't play, you can't serve two masters. You can't, this ain't Mr. fucking Rogers where you put this shit on like an outfit. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. A beautiful day in the neighborhood. Would you be mine? Well, you put your dashiki on at 5:30 when you go live stream and then take it off at 8. And then you put your wig back on and you're back to the ratchet life. No, it doesn't work like that. This ain't primetime television. It's real fucking life. So the people who you lay down with and give all of the access to the most precious, there's nothing beyond that. Forget about a religion, forget about your occupation, forget about your credit score. I'm talking about the temple. So the motherfucker that's laying up in that temple, he or she, right? Because if I'm with a sister, she's in my temple, it is very imperative that they have your best interest at hand. How can they have your best interest at hand if they think you a witch? How can they have your best interest at hand if they think you into mumbo jumbo pseudo shit? How can they have your best interest at hand when a white man is their god?
I want to add something to what you just said. So, yes, it's okay that we are living in a real reality where we're not always going to meet people that's all about the conscious life and perfect. You have to, when you meet somebody, you have to accept them from where they are at. but also they have to have some type of potential and wanting to grow.
Right.
And also, somebody once told me this, which is really interesting. If you are at a higher level of vibration, consciousness, frequency, whatever you want to call it, if you're dating somebody that is on a lower frequency, naturally they're going to take from you, especially when you're having sex with this person. There's an energy exchange. So you have to be very conscious of who you are laying with, and also if you know that this person is on a lower frequency, you have to also understand that this person may take some from you. So not only that, but there has to be an even exchange. You don't want to just get into a relationship where you're doing all of the teaching and this person is not giving anything back to you. You understand what I'm saying? And it's okay to want to teach and help another person, but there has to be some type of balance. Okay, you know, if I'm teaching a dude about crystals and meditating and stuff, what can you teach me? You know what I'm saying? You have to have a balance between the street life and the conscious life, spirituality and the material world. If you are more, if the guy is more heavy into the streets and he know about like the real life stuff in business, maybe he can help me with my business and I can help him elevate spiritually. But where there's a duality there. Right. That's why it's so important for the man and the woman to work together. That's that feminine divine energy and that masculine divine energy. One is not better than the other. We have to learn how to balance each other. If one of our complement, exactly. If one of our partner is falling short in some aspect in life, whether it's money, consciousness, whatever, the other person has to balance them and bring them up.
Facts.
Absolutely.
Facts.
Yeah, again, it comes down to balance. But then also, I mean, one thing we gotta be very honest with ourselves with when it comes to, you know, us becoming intimate with one another and not getting to know each other. That's a big problem that we have within our family, honestly. And you know, one thing one of my elders told me was that, you know, this generation, and she's like in her 80s, so elders include people who was like 50 and under, okay? And her thing is that, you know, the biggest thing is that we don't generally have friendships. You know, there's this African proverb that says it takes a village to raise a child. But what happens when that child becomes an adult? He becomes part of that community as well. And that's what we should have, is it always comes again down to that love. And I feel as though that's the thing that we as a community is seriously lacking, is love. Because love transcends everything. I mean,
facts.
We're not all meant to see everything eye to eye. We're not all meant to be the same. If that was the case, we would look alike, we would speak alike. We're not meant to be the same. We are all within, you know, the melanin family I'm talking about. We're all different for a reason, and we need to be able to study ourselves enough to know the gift that we were given, because I believe each and every single one of us has at least one gift that's meant to contribute to our family to help us grow. And we all need to take the time to figure out what that gift is, study it and master it so that we can kind of join the community. So when it comes to being involved in an intimate relationship with somebody, when it comes to being in a relationship with somebody that you want to build with, again, you have to reflect on yourself. You might sit there and be like, oh, I'm lonely, I want a man. But the question is, are you really ready for a man?
Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying? Because it's one thing to sit there and be like, well, my man has to have A, B, C, and D. But are you willing to bring A, B, C, and D? And I know for our females, a lot of us are not like that. We're not conditioned to practice what we preach.
Yeah.
I can't sit there and be like, oh, I want a man who is, you know, spiritually inclined, you know, he's vegan, you know, he could put in that work, and the list can go on and on. But what are you willing to do? You understand what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, nobody is perfect. We get that. But when it comes to you making that conscious decision to build with somebody, it has to come from a place truly rooted in love. Because another thing of love is being honest. If you're honest with yourself, you know if you're ready to really give everything that's required in a relationship, and if you're not. Mm-hmm. And that goes for both men and women. So when it comes to men saying that they want women that, you know, they can build with, that, you know, the power is in our hands and we can help, you know, open doors that maybe they might not have access to, that's all good and well, but what are you bringing to the table? That still is the unknown question. Again, you don't gotta come to the table and, you know, have 6 figures off the hook. My sister said it best: if you have that ambition, then all right, cool, then we can do the work. But you have to bring something to the table, whether you're a man or a woman. And if you know for yourself that you do not know what your gift is, you do not know what your talent is, and you do not know what your purpose is, do not try to involve yourself in any kind of intimate relationship with anybody else, because it's a recipe for disaster. If you don't know yourself, if you don't know what your purpose is and the gift that you've been given to share with this world, then why are you wasting your time with somebody else? Because you're ultimately, if you have not reached a certain level, then you involve yourself in a relationship with somebody. Sometimes it brings you down a few notches from the progress that you were supposed to be making. So it's kind of like, again, I feel as though a lot of the issues that we within our community have is the fact that we do not love ourselves. And I feel like because it's so hard to face ourselves in the mirror and to be able to kind of really acknowledge everything that, you know, we have gone through, and the repercussions of the things that we have gone through. We as a community have not sat down and had that conversation. Nope. We have not sat there and healed each other's wounds. Like, we all are going through the same shit. We are all going through the same thing. But none of us have really been able to kind of really sit down and make it a point to heal from that, so that we can really start moving forward. So like with the example Red gave, when you do have somebody who is trying to find themselves, who's trying to find consciousness, and there's this labeled as a conscious community, when they come in, they're coming into a community. They're coming into a community filled with love. It's like a house. When you come into the house, it's nice and warm. People are happy. They're smiling. They're full of love. That's the kind of love we should have for one another. When anything happens to one of us, it should affect all of us. And unfortunately, that's not the case. So until we really start to dissect and understand what this word love really is, this is just going to continue to be a cycle that repeats itself over and over again. We have so many wonderful, amazing master teachers that have really given us the tools to help us to rediscover ourselves, have really given us the tools to help us begin the healing process. But it still comes down to self. You have to want it for yourself. And I'm a big supporter of, we are capable of accomplishing anything we set our minds to, whether it be finding happiness with someone, whether it be, growing our family, whether it be, being wealthy. We have the power to do that, but it all stems from looking within. And until we take that time to do that, then unfortunately, we're going to continue to look at one another as enemies, as opposed to seeing each other as brothers and sisters, fighting the same evil. In some way, shape, or form, we is all fighting white supremacy. In some degree, we all are. And it's so sad to see a lot of these people who, have made it, who are very famous, who, try to separate themselves. But all it takes is one instance for you to be reminded that you a nigga. That's all it takes. So it's kind of like, as opposed to you pushing away from this family, we need to come together and really start to learn to love and to heal one another. We need to have genuine love for each other. And this love goes beyond sexual. Like, when you call somebody your brother and you call somebody your sister, that should be something genuine and from the heart, because that's what we are. And until we start to see each other as brother and sister, we're not going to see each other as king and queen. We're not going to see each other as, potential mates for building a family or anything like that. So it really, I can't stress it enough, family. It's just so important that we really start with ourselves. We take, even if it's like 5 minutes a day, just to stand or sit in silence and just be by yourself and get to know yourself. Stop running away from the darkness. Embrace everything. Embrace the good, embrace the bad, because that's the only way that you are truly going to be happy in this physical world, regardless of whatever oppression is going on. We don't have no control over anything outside of ourselves. Anything can happen tomorrow. We have no control over that. But what we have control is what we have in our minds, and what we have control of is what's in our hearts. And we should always be speaking positivity to one another. We should always be speaking love to one another. And when you start doing things like that, all the things that you want starts coming to you. It's that attractive energy. When you start putting all those good things out there, they start coming to you. When it comes to black men on some, they can't find a job, they can't find a job. All right, but what is your dream? What do you dream of doing? Matter of fact, Les Brown said it best. He said, his definition of success is somebody knowing what their purpose is, knowing what they love to do, and finding someone to pay them for it. So if you have a passion for anything, okay, work on that. There's nothing that's impossible, but it starts with yourself. Let's stop looking outside of ourselves. Let's stop looking to blame everybody else and focus on yourself, and just acknowledge that whatever is going on in your life at this point, as an adult I'm speaking, at this point in time, to some degree, you have something to do with it. And if you're able to kind of really acknowledge that and just be honest with yourself and genuinely start working on yourself, I'm telling you, everything that you want will start coming to you. You don't have to go out and seek it. It's the law of attraction. It comes right to you. So it just starts with self. And if we can really start to open up and be honest with ourselves and start to really love ourselves for the good, for the bad things that we have done, for the, for all the darkness that we have within us, if we just let it out and acknowledge it for what it is, so we can really start to heal, that's how we start to connect. And that energy is contagious. People start to see that in you, and you start to motivate and inspire people. And I'm telling you, once you start doing those things, anything that you want will come into your life. But you got to believe in that, and the only way you're going to believe in it is if you believe in yourself. And that stems again from studying yourself and taking that time. I think that's...
Okay, so finances have been mentioned a lot in this conversation. I didn't expect it to be mentioned so much, Red Pill. Did you know this was going to be talked about to this extent?
Yes, I did.
But do you think black men are hyper masculine? And the reason why I ask that is because people feel as though black men think they're too tough to take certain jobs. I'm not working for that quacker. I'm not carrying his bags. I'm not delivering pizza. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. So do you think us being hyper masculine is hurting us? If there's even a such thing as being hyper masculine to begin with?
Again, you won't fall under a definition if you don't believe it applies to you. I think the men who feel as though they're too proud to do certain things, again, they don't know themselves. It comes down to not knowing yourself, because ultimately money is a tool. Whether we agree with how money came to be or not, at the end of the day, in order to effectuate any kind of change, you gotta have money. When you have money, you have the power to make change. So it's kind of like, you coming from that perspective, then nothing should be too much for you to do. If you coming from a perspective like, listen, this is a temporary step for me to take to get to where I need to be, then there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're thinking on a low level, then of course you're gonna be too proud to work in McDonald's. You're gonna be too proud to do this. You're gonna be too proud to do that. But there's a lot of people out here who are wealthy, who are creating wealth, who did not create wealth the conventional way. They didn't go to college and get a master's degree. They weren't born into wealth. There are people of all different backgrounds, of all different economic levels, of all different genders. There's no barrier to being wealthy. That's what I believe. There's money that can be made out there. So if you are someone who feels as though, oh well, I'm not working for the white man, I'm not, cool, I respect that, but you need to be doing something. You need to be productive in some kind of a way. And that's what women like, as men who are producing. So you may not sit there and be busting out, $100,000 a year, but if you get up every day and you hustling to sell your merchandise every day, that's a certain level of respect. And again, it's that law of attraction. Whatever you put out there is gonna come back to you. You just have to believe. When they talk about faith, it's all talking about having faith and believing in yourself. So if you don't want to work for the man, that's your business. But at the end of the day, you need to be doing something. Don't sit there and be talking. You need to be striving to do something.
I want to add on to that. Basically, we got to remember that pride and the ego is one of our biggest obstacles in this third dimensional reality. We have to remember that. So the issue that I have with a lot of black men that may be too macho to have a job with a white man, I would say this. Okay, if you don't want to work for a white man, you have to understand you got a phone, right? Phone bill, who are you paying? Water bill, who does that go to? Light bill, who does that go to? So you can't be impartial. You can't be partial to like what cause you want to be with. If you really a revolutionary and you're 100% down for the cause, then that means that you cut off all services with the white man if that's what you're really about. But what I say is this: if you have the goal and the ambition, like, okay, you know what, I know I got to start from the bottom in order to get to the top. Most of us have to do it that way. A lot of us ain't brought up with a silver spoon in our mouth. I know I wasn't. I had to work from nothing to get where I am right now. So there's no excuses. My thing is this: don't allow your pride to get into the way of where you can be. We all got to start somewhere. As long as you have a vision of where you want to go. So sometimes it's okay to just, scoot that ego, that pride a little bit to the side to get where you need to go.
Y'all didn't answer though. Are black men hyper or masculine, if there's a such thing? Do you feel as though, especially the conscious woke black man? Say that?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I did. I said that some guys are. Like, there's a lot of, and I hate to say it's like there's a stereotype with the RBG guys.
Yeah,
it's like really tough.
Yeah.
Fuck the cracker. I remember one time I was talking to this guy that was like an RBG, and I was working at the time, and he was like, "Oh, you're about to go back to the slave ship, huh? Master calling, huh?" And I was just like, "What?" I just was like, I couldn't do this anymore. I had to quickly end that dating situation because every day everything was all black and white. This. And I feel like sometimes it's a little bit too much. Like, I understand there is a war right now, against races, but you don't have to always make every little single thing black and white.
I got you.
This is what I told somebody yesterday. I was like, I deal with all races because I know who I am. I get complimented by them. I'm able to speak to them about multiple different things, whether it's the Asian culture, whether it's Middle Eastern culture, whether it's European, because I need to know that my confidence came in studying. I know who they are now, so I can have multiple levels of conversation. So I was like, when it comes to what we doing, like I just did a lecture in Norfolk, and people were kind of, we saw a white boy in the audience, we don't want them around. I was like, look, all of us, when it comes to a certain point, there's levels to this shit. So you may be more of a humanitarian when it comes to the Europeans. You might just be a liaison, meaning that you may have to take this proposal and go into an all-white office on some hidden figure shit where it's mad racist crackers, all rights all around you, alt to your right, alt to your left. And you may have to go inside of that den, that vipers, that lion's den, or that den of vipers to go out and get something on some Indiana Jones shit. Go get the pearl and come bring it back to us. I'm just like, we all have people that we do business with and we interact with. Business is colorless. Don't bring them in the house though. Right. Don't bring them in our meetings though. I don't want to meet your friends. I'm not going to introduce you to mine. You understand? They're not my friends. These are business people who are race soldiers, who I understand are on code, and they're working to advance their race, but they are obligated to do business with all different people until there's a nigga ban. Up until that day, we got to do what we got to do to get what we have to get. When it comes to pride, I put my pride in my back pocket 10 years ago, all right? I went and stood on 125th Street, fresh out of the industry, fresh out of going on tour, fresh out of being on South Beach, fresh out of everybody in my hood, looking at me and my brother like we made it. And then I'm on 125th Street next to the guy with the bullhorn 10 years ago, not when it was commercialized now. I'm talking about before all of this shit cracked. The heavy lifting phase, the pioneer aspect, the settler phase, when the shit rough. I had my young guys coming uptown laughing at me, pointing at me. They were making jokes about we fell off in the hood. You know what I mean? I went days where nobody bought anything. For many, many days, for 10 years straight. Niggas would look past me and just go, let me get 2 DVDs. Oh man, I'm sorry. I'll see you another time. And they said that 30 times. All of that shit. Bandwagon shit where, they don't support you until you're on YouTube, stuff like that. And I wanted to give up many times. I walked up a 6th flight apartment carrying I used to push shopping carts with my bags in it. Now we could hop out of a Benz and pop the trunk. You dig what I'm saying? But back then, that's what it was. You understand? And I didn't know what we were doing. I didn't know that this was going to be a part of my reality. I didn't know that more younger people were going to stop. I didn't know that the rappers were going to have a comedic clothing line. I didn't know that it was going to be cool, but I did know that. And I was going to continue to keep pushing until that became the reality, because that was my intention and that was my goal. When I shared that with some of the women that I was with, they left. They was like, well, good luck on your goals. You understand? Because I don't see you as the person who is, I don't know what to tell my friends when they're like, yo, so what's your boyfriend do? Oh, you know, he has his own business. He's selling clothes. They're like, yo, what store is he in? You know, he's on 125th Street. And I'm like, well, goddamn it, if that's a problem, then you don't even know what the mission is about. You don't know what I'm willing, you don't know the lengths that I was willing to go through just to establish oneself. And I'm saying all of that to say that it boils down to purpose. You know, one of the main things that I have to make sure of in my future relationships is that the person that I decide that I want to be with, she has a purpose and she's identified her purpose. And her purpose has to be, it doesn't have to be a purpose that can't be, edited or whatever. But there has to be a purpose. Like, you have to know why you're here. You feel me? If you're Trinity, you should know that by now. You know, because I don't have the time to help a person find their path or find their purpose while I'm doing what I gotta do, because you're not gonna understand or understand my purpose. You're not gonna get me. And be like, what the fuck is this dude doing? Like, you know what I mean? So I'm still trying to get me. You dig what I'm saying? I'm learning the new me every other day as I evolve, as I go deeper within, as I discover newer things. So I'm like, shit, I don't even know me. So you might not know me. But this is what I'm about, and this is what I stand for, and this is what I don't stand for anymore. I'm not gonna, you know what I mean? Like, we could sneak into the ratchet world every now and then, but for the most part, I'm married to this consciousness. You my second wife, okay? And I you know what I'm saying? You're my second wife, because I sacrificed mad shit to get on my knee and propose to her. You understand? I lost all kind of things rocking with her. So I can't turn my back on her. I'm not like these niggas on Facebook, these fake niggas that be like, when shit goes wrong, they want to jump ship and swim away.
Yeah.
I ain't these switch-siders, because you wasn't really down from the beginning. You was a dick rider. You was just trailing along. You was trying to be a hotep nigga. You was trying to get you some, you know what I'm saying, some divine.
Goddess necklace.
Yeah, some goddess necklace. You know? So it should be easy for just a slight wind to push you niggas off the fence. People are so wayward these days. But I breathe this. I've identified that. My children were born into this. So it's just different. And whatever the prize is at the end of the day, it's worth the sacrifice. So you gotta put your pride in your back pocket. And I'm just, from experience, I'm saying that he was in Brooklyn in cold ass weather for years, right on Fulton Street with a big ass bus flying by him every other minute.
That exhaust. Remember you?
That exhaust. The DVDs be all dirty. You had brothers downtown in his earlier phases. It wasn't cool to just, we hip hop. So we get affected when a lot of people your age group or your peer group is looking at you, down at you. You know what I went through in Harlem before this shit became cool? That's why I be looking at these niggas now like y'all don't even know the heavy lifting that was involved.
Yo, you know what's funny you bring that up? When I made that transition, when I first started in the DVDs, I was probably like 24 years old. And one of the main things I was worried about, I was like, damn, is my girl gonna fuck with this? Because I'm young, she like 3 years younger than me. I'm like, that she gonna think I'm some corny nigga, yo. She gonna think my money's gonna slow up, I'm gonna be a bum now. So that's the first thing I thought about. And when I ran it by my girl, like, she was mad cool with it. So I was like, that gave me all the confidence in the world right there. But I guess, this was I definitely appreciate the talk. Probably got about an hour and 40 minutes, hour and a half, something like that. One more question for you guys. In terms of when you meet somebody, I noticed for myself, like I mentioned when I was young, my first date, I sat in Central Park with my girl and we was drinking Hennessy. And she ain't know none of this shit. And we was drinking Hennessy straight. You know what I'm saying? And she ain't know none of this information. But once I felt her energy, it was like, oh shit. I was like, yo, this is some shit, right? Like Shorty's a keeper right here. But it had nothing to do with the intellectual aspect. It was more of a heart aspect. So it's hard to, you told me about the book, The Law of Resonance. And resonance don't lie. The heart doesn't lie. Frequency doesn't lie. Words lie all day, every day.
Facts.
How can we as a spiritual community tell when somebody's coming from the heart, not coming from the brain? Because a dude will come up to you and he'll be good with the words, with the mouth, a good wordsmith, and he'll know a sharp game. Same with females for you, Red. But how can someone, because I think that's the biggest mistake, we don't know how to tell if it's coming from the brain or the heart. So how can we recognize this?
I feel like I've been saying the same thing the whole time video, but it comes down again to self. When you receive, I love what you said, Red, about your story as far as, you coming up in this community. And I feel like what you said was beautiful because that's exactly what it is. It's hard work, but from the story that you were explaining, it sounded like you genuinely had belief in yourself. Like you knew who you were, you knew what you were about, and you believed in yourself that what it is that you want to accomplish, you will, and you made it happen. And that's what we need to have. You're going to be able to feel people's spiritual energies if you're a spiritually inclined person, and I feel like we all have the potential to do that, but it takes time and it takes mastery. You have to know yourself. You have to know yourself. If you can determine what level you are at spiritually when you meet other people, that frequency is gonna either attract or it's gonna repel. But if your mind is not on that realm and you want some love and hip hop type stuff, then of course whoever relates to that frequency you're gonna connect with. So it ultimately comes down to the level of spirituality that you have within yourself. Because if I'm an avid love and hip hop fan, then of course I'm gonna connect to a sister who's an avid love and hip hop fan.
Right.
But are we building on something conducive? No. So ultimately, you're going to attract what you put out there, and that's why it's very, very important. The power of thought is very important. The way that you feel about yourself, and it's very important the way that you carry yourself, because that's the energy that speaks to people. So I know for myself, through my spiritual journey, the more in depth I became in this new way of life, things were drawn to me. Like, it's so crazy how I met Red. It's so crazy how I kind of, started meeting these, like-minded individuals. I never, deliberately went out and sought it, but it was just kind of like my spirit pulled me towards it. So I feel like it's a magnetism. It's really a spiritual connection. And if you know you're living in your lower self, then unfortunately you got to change our frequency, because then you're only going to attract the things that are keeping you in that level. But if if you striving for higher, if you want more for yourself and you want better for yourself, you have to plant that seed up here. And once you do that, those things start to come your way and they start to attract you, and slowly but surely you start to grow in that light.
And to answer the question, how can you tell if somebody is legit? Like the sister was saying, you can feel the energy. And not only that, you have to not only listen to what people say, but see if their actions add up to it. Because there's a lot of fake people that this whole consciousness thing is like a new wave right now. It's a trend for some people, and for other people like us, it's a lifestyle. And you can tell the difference, just because, as we were talking about a little bit earlier, just because a sister might have natural hair and she might wear an ankh or whatever, doesn't mean that she's really about that life. It really says a lot about a person's spirit and their character. Not to say that people can't change, but at the end of the day, we have to also remember that the people that we attract into our reality is only a reflection of ourselves.
Absolutely.
So because that person is a person that you're projecting, as me and you was talking about Rich earlier, it's really a projection. You created that person, you brought that person into your reality. So naturally, if you're really in tune with spirit and you know yourself, because as Sister was saying, self comes first. Once you know yourself, there's nothing outside of you that you won't really be able to understand.
Right.
And you'll be able to fully comprehend if somebody is coming at you with a genuine interest or if they have ulterior motives. So I guess that kind of answers the question.
Definitely.
What we have to understand about consciousness or the conscious community is that you're now a part of a community, a fraternal order for that matter. It's an invisible fraternal order because it exists in the cosmos, you know what I mean? Amongst people that you'll never see, and you know, but that doesn't mean that they're not there. But one of the pros and cons of this community is that it is an upgrade to, you know, the quote unquote, there's levels of our black world or our black experience or Aboriginal Indigenous. This is a higher level. So you're coming across people who are sophisticated savages if they choose to be. Now there's powers, it's like mentalism. So you have people who are telepathic, you have people that are clairvoyant, you got readers, conjurers. So, you know, we have these powers that we've now activated, but it's on some old, you know, X-Men, Professor X Magneto type of stuff. If he or she choose to use those powers to do mankind and humanity harm, he or she can do such.
Yeah.
Right.
You feel me? So people could come into this community and utilize intelligentsia or intelligence, which is the highest level of, you know, powers that we possess, and they can manipulate, they can deceive, but they can get over than the average nigga because you've already caught on to the nigga shit. You know what I mean? You've been through it so many times. You're like, I can smell that, I can see it coming. You're not equipped to come into the conscious community college when the motherfucking teacher is rocking you to sleep, because he can access your level of, he can access where you're at in 5 minutes or 5 seconds with the quick conversation, he or she. So they'll size you up, and then they know that they could get over, or they know that they could utilize, or they know that they could take advantage. This community doesn't have, unfortunately, it's non-regulation at this point. Okay? It's a free-for-all, so people are allowed to kind of like do certain things. We have not installed the penalty system as of yet. Now, when it comes to situations like that, the Bridge was asking about, I would say follow your heart, because your heart is going to allow you to make these choices that will be beneficial in your experience. Case in point, when I was in Miami in the early 2000s, I was working with Pitbull. I was one of the first niggas he fired. Okay, he got rid of everybody. They're all gone. He's with the Cubans and the Dominicans now. I started rocking with a group called Duo Live. But these brothers were Ital, Nyabingi, Rastas out of Brooklyn, a hip hop group. Salute to them. They had a mansion in the design district. They were independent music hustlers, right? So I wound up going to work with them, video, you know, documenting them. It allowed me to take time off from the crazy fast life that I was experiencing in Miami and find time to look within. We was in a mansion with no furniture, air mattresses, a heat press machine. They was like, you know, we come home, drink Guinness, smoke with L, and read about Selassie and all of this stuff. But I was on a spiritual journey. I'm encouraging the family. I'm encouraging you to begin to focus on your personal journey, whatever path it may take you. Some dudes got to sign up to the armed services and go around the world, and they have spiritual enlightenment while they're on mission.
Yeah.
Some people get locked up and you're put into solitary. You're in a place where you were forced to sit down and slow down. That's why a lot of people come home enlightened. They come home on a journey. Some people get shot. Some people get married and they fall in a level of love where your heart chakra opens up. Some people have a child.
Yeah.
What happened to me was I was able to create a situation for myself where I attracted my counterpart, because I had to sit down for a minute and I had to deal with me. You understand? And then by doing such, I was able, like I was resisting. Remember, we're on South Beach and we're making money. Okay, yeah, all right. So I had to learn the art of, you know, resisting the shit. Like, nah, I'm good, chill, shorty. I'm Gucci, you're Rebecca. And by working on myself, I attracted my son's mother, who I met at the magic show in Las Vegas, who, when the opportunity was presented to me to go there, I followed my heart. My heart was like, go, nigga. I'm like, I don't got no money. It was like, go. When I met her, we went out that night, Cheesecake Factory. You know what I'm saying? I was with a European, my dude named Vinny. Shout out to Vinny. He's a gray. We call him gray. He's not even white or black. He's right in the middle. If anybody knows the Europeans in Philly, them niggas is just another breed. You know what I mean? Italian dude. You know, I'm with him. I'm with my dude Teach. You know, we smoking weed. Nigga shit. You know what I mean? I didn't meet her on some hotepping. You know, she met me at a clothing convention. I came back to Miami. My heart told me, go and find her in New York.
Wow.
Go and find her. The first night that we met and we built, the attraction was so strong. The magnetism was so strong that I knew that there was something special about her. It wasn't no regular, you know what I mean? I meet people all the time. It wasn't that.
Right. It was
Something was going on, and it motivated me to be a better person. It motivated me to want to follow my heart. I wound up following my heart. I came to New York. She got me in the conscious community, okay? Because she believed in me. When the late night, I went through a depression when I became 30 years old. When I went through 30 years old, I had a midlife crisis.
The Saturn return.
Oh my goodness. Everything came falling down on me. And she lifted me back up. She put me back together. I was staying with my grandfather on 117th Street, sleeping on a mattress on the floor with him. And then I was in the projects in East New York. Okay? And I was like, what am I doing with my life? And she was like, it's going to be all right. This new thing that you're doing on 125th Street with that guy with the bullhorn, what's his name, Sanetta, and this new clothing line that you're trying out, I believe in it. Because I saw where you was in Miami, you was good and everything, but you're following your path. I'm like, yeah, but it's not giving me nothing is going on for me. Like, I'm selling one shirt a day. I want to take you out. I want to, you know what I mean? Like, I want to get an apartment for us. Like, I have a vision. She was like, stay with it. A few months later, like a year later, I got an apartment on 129th. We're living together. You know what I'm saying? She's pregnant. When my son was born and I seen him open my eyes, that's when my life changed. That's when my purpose came and everything made sense. But if I didn't follow my heart, that would have never happened. Unfortunately, we decided later on down the line, I think in our 3rd year, that I was evolving at a pace because I started binging. Like around 06, 07, I became consciousness. I stopped participating in it where I was watching the videos, where I was listening to the lecturers, where I was in the back, and I started becoming consciousness. So I didn't participate in it as a student, I made it a lifestyle. And by doing such, that's when we kind of began to split up. She still wanted to smoke cigarettes. She still wanted to eat certain things. I stopped eating. I was drinking water, smoking trees, and watching videos. That shit fulfilled me. I thought I was Bobby Hemmett. He said that, you know what I mean? I heard him say it, and that shit really worked out. I didn't even have an appetite because all of the stuff that I was learning about food cut me off. I started losing weight and everything. I'm like, yo, she's cooking for me. I don't want to eat. She's like, come in to bed. I don't want to come into bed. I'm coming to bed when she waking up because I'm binging all night. And it's almost like I was in a cocoon. And I became that's when I became into the red pill persona or the altar. And my son, Amir, was the saving grace. It was no turning back after that. Particularly when I saw him come out of her womb. Okay? I was like, this is some interesting shit right here. Like, I did not think that it was, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, there's something about us as human beings that I need to explore further because a human being just came out of her stomach, B. This shit fucking me up. And, you know, like I said, we're here now. And I'm forever grateful. I love her for life. We're best friends. We co-parent. I live right down the block from her and my son. And, you know, the bumpy roads that it took, because I know a lot of people who are in relationships where the wife is not conscious. she's doing some of the same things that I just identified, or the husband is not conscious but they have children, I would say to you, whatever you have to do, I don't know. I'm not recommending to walk out. I'm not recommending to give up on them. I'm not recommending to break up the household. You dig what I'm saying? I'm recommending that you are conscious and aware and enlightened and the black sheep for a reason. It may be your job and your duty to be the one to be the shining light and to endure. It's not, she don't need to hear about what we was talking about today. She don't need to be forced to watch Red Pill. You know what I'm saying? She doesn't need to be forced to eat motherfucking quinoa soup with you. You dig what I'm saying? Maybe that might be something personal that you're going to endure. And when she sees the persistence, and then she sees that that money is starting to come in because them shea butters are moving, you dig what I'm saying? Or she sees that you are becoming to look younger and more healthier, you're lasting longer, you're bringing her to multiple orgasms because you're applying the information. You're not just listening and you know, because she's like, nigga, you bullshit. You watching them Sadie videos and then, you know what I'm saying? You right back in the motherfucking pork rinds.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so.
You gotta live it.
You gotta live it sometimes. And yes, I'm not telling you to give up on the little ones. I'm not telling you to allow somebody who may be detrimental in their actions and their ways and means and giving religion to the babies when you don't want them or giving them the vaccinations. Fight that shit. But fight it in a way where you remind her that when you got together, it was for a purpose and it was basically through death do us part, but you had to come to a compromise. All right? You got to come to a compromise, but don't break the family up. Don't leave our sisters like that. I'm still trying to pick up the pieces for decisions that I made that I live to regret to this day. I'm not perfect. You dig what I'm saying? So I'm going hard in order to strengthen my brotherhood, but at the same time, never excluding the sisterhood, because we need to have this conversation in the same room. Ain't no fucking secrets, okay? We hurt, we broke, you hurt, you broke, shit went down, we traumatized. What are we gonna do? Where we gotta go? What country we gotta go to? I got my passport. What fucking mountain you wanna go on? You dig what I'm saying? What plant do we have to take to make this thing better so we could do what she said? We could show each other some more love because we love ourselves, because we fixed ourselves in this time. Not when we fucking die and go get coddled by Jesus and his lambs and shit. No, we fixed us now. All right? We fixed us now. And by fixing you, then you have the right to try to fix somebody else. You can't fucking, how you could jump out of a broken Bentley and try to fix the Phantom. You can't do that. Mm-hmm. You cannot do that. Work on your shit. Your fucking engine is going off. So that's it.
Leave your contact information, family, for the people that want to reach out to y'all for some more guidance.
The Mark 125th, the THE marked, like supermark, no, marked, MART, number 1, number 2, number 5, lowercase TH, the Mark 125th, like the super mall in Harlem at Gmail. Peace.
You can reach me at conjurequeen, CONJUREQUEEN @gmail.com.
I don't really have anywhere for you guys to contact me yet. I'm actually thinking. Oh right, I am on Facebook, but you know I'm not really on Facebook like that.
But tell them to inbox you.
So you guys can inbox me at Asisat, ASISAT. But I'm also thinking of having my own YouTube videos. So if you guys put something in the comment box if you think it would be awesome for me to have my own channel, and it would pretty much be my effort to spread as much love as I possibly can, because I do understand, from what I see, I feel as though that's one of the biggest things that we're missing. So my platform would really be from a place of just, you know, positive energy, love, and just, you know, let me know if you guys think that would be something that you would be interested in, okay? Peace.
Oh,
Real
wait.
quick.
Oh, sorry.
Just
One thing before we go. Red has said something about creating a solution. What can we do as a black woman and a black man to create a better situation? I personally feel like a solution that we can do, instead of coming into relationships just looking for love solely, You should be with a person that can benefit you, and also you guys can build a business, because ultimately that's what a relationship is.
Fact.
It starts with a man and a woman, and you guys coming together to see how can we build a strong foundation. That's a business right there. How can she complement your business? How can he complement your business? And then from there you guys create a community, and then there's other couples or relationships that comes together, and that's networking. So that's what we can do. It starts with one person. First you build it on yourself. Then as you evolve, your spirit grows, then you'll naturally attract somebody who's just like you. And then you guys come together and you build. And then other people, because like you said, you can't just be the light bearer. Being with other light bearers, you have to go out into the darkness and light the way. People will watch you and say, wow, what is this person doing? Okay, maybe this consciousness thing is the way. So let me see what he or she is doing, and maybe I can get up on it too and be successful. So you have to live by example. Don't just hide behind a computer screen and just posting memes and all of this. No, you have to be about that life. Fix yourself, attract somebody who's just like you. You guys can build a community, black economics, and then take over.
Yeah, support black businesses. Definitely support black businesses. That's very, very, very important. Support black businesses.
They can start
Yes.
by donating to Richard Mary 7.
Yes,
Yahoo.
absolutely. Brothers Bishop has been out here for years doing the work, so definitely support him, so that you guys can keep getting, information like this, to kind of lift your spirits. Absolutely support.
Yes.
And thanks, sorry. And since we talking about black businesses, I also have a business. Is some of you guys probably see me vending my candles and my sprays at some of the lectures. Evanescence candles. You can find me on Instagram, evanescence _candles.
Spell it out.
Let me spell it. It's EBONESSENCE_candles. So yeah, and I have a evanescence.net is where you can also support.
I'll put it in the description for those that just
Perfect.
want to click on it.
And we have the generosity crowdfunding for the Facts Initiative that we just launched. We're going to be in Miami on Valentine's weekend, February 11th, to initiate the Facts Initiative 2017 tour. Now, we're going to deal with that aspect of this networking mixer that me, you, and a whole bunch of us have been talking about over the years. I feel that this year is the time to initiate that.
Yes.
What is it, February 1st now? Let's say that by the time the springtime comes, we can all, I'm speaking to the promoters now. I'm speaking to everybody in the states where our population is very large, the Carolinas, the Atlantas, the Miamis of the world, the Detroits, the Chicagos, the Phillies, the Norfolks, the VAs, the DMVs. There are many places where we need to begin to socialize and get together. This interaction right here is the precipice or the beginning of what it is that she just said, or how do we heal each other? We have to come together and socialize, not gossip, not complain, not be victims, not sing, not march, not even lecture. That's one aspect of what we come together to do. When are we going to come together and socialize? Not even on social media, because that's not the way to socialize in the days and times that not the kind of socializing we need. We need to be able to press flesh and meet eye to eye. Okay? So we are going to initiate a statewide series of meet and greets, networking mixers, and utilize the power of live streaming and utilize the power of all of these other tidbits that technology affords us, because we're going to help our brothers find their queens. We're going to help our goddesses find their gods. We're going to help our young Herus find their mothers and fathers that are missing and whatnot. Because the best thing that we can do is get each other in the room, give us some authentic information, you know what I mean? Speak to the hearts, the affairs of the hearts, and then let everything else, because we're not children, we're not broken to the place where we don't know how to function. We are intellectual, we are sophisticated, you know what I mean? Like, let's start acting like it, and let's be social, and let's be open, and let's be loving towards each other without it being in the lower nature, lower self. It's called loving from the higher self. We can do this. You dig what I'm saying? And that, salute to Blue Pillar with his retreat. He's going to Shasta Mountain, I think on the spring equinox, March. I'm going as well. You know what I'm saying? Salute to everybody that came out in Norfolk. That was a beautiful event that we just went through. And you know, like I said, let's continue to have these conversations. Let's continue to be more transparent. Let's continue to heal. Shout out to the internet channel, the internet platform, Intellectual Dopeness, the two sisters that are doing their thing online. You know, we're looking forward to bringing more of our goddesses on these This was therapeutic. Just in itself, this conversation was therapeutic.
Absolutely.
What we've not been doing is we've not been dealing with each other from a place where it matters first. I'm good with all of the intellectualism and the consciousness and I'm gonna do a lecture tomorrow. But right now, the affairs of the heart and the gender war, or the fact that the genders need to come together, the black woman and black man, more than anything, more than any time. I applaud y'all for being here and being open with us, and you know, putting up with
Good to be here.
with everything.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
No doubt.
Yes, and thank you, family. Thank you so much, family. Peace out.
Peace.
One more question real quick. No! I just want a short answer from y'all, because it gets kind of confusing. I kind of sense the theme of the conversation was, you know, know thyself. Like, you kept bringing it up. You mentioned it, Red mentioned it. When I was young and I heard the term know thyself, I thought it was from just a historical aspect. And it's way bigger than that. So when they keep hearing you say self, could you explain to them what you're talking about when you keep saying know thyself? No, because somebody might think of something completely different from what you're trying to interpret or what you're trying to express.
Know thyself basically means you have to know what your purpose is, why you're here, what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, what are your skills. You have to know everything about yourself, things that tick you off, because there's a saying that, I think it's an African proverb that says, if there's no enemy within, then there's no enemy without. So once you master yourself, there's nobody else that can manipulate you or tell you something about yourself you don't know. And the only reason I feel as though black people specifically are in the situation that they're in is because they don't know where they come from, who they are. And if you don't know where you come from and who you are, then you don't know where you're going. You're just running around in the circles. That's it.
Thank you.
Endlessly.
When it comes to knowing thyself, if you want success in your life, you want happiness, you want material things, anything that you want for yourself, in order for you to achieve it, it really stems from knowing yourself. Reason being is that a lot of the things that we want for ourselves, a lot of things that we expect starts from how we view ourselves. So I feel as though it's very important to know thyself so that you can be able to sift out what's truly meaningful in this life from what is just consuming a lot of your time that's not even important. A lot of nonsensical thing, a lot of distractions.
Who they sleep with.
Right. So knowing thyself is very important if you generally want to achieve true happiness, true unbiased, uncircumstantial happiness, because I'm a firm believer that we are in control of our happiness. We can't expect anyone to be the person to, make or break, how we feel about ourselves. So knowing thyself is very, very important. And I feel like the best way to start is really start having honest conversation with yourself. And the best way that I've known how to do that is through meditation and through exercise as well. There's different ways for people to, kind of have that internal conversation with themselves. But I believe that's how you really start. It's just, giving a few minutes of silence within a day and just focus on something that's very important to you. I do believe as adults, we all know what our strengths are. We all know what our weaknesses are. And I think that's the first step, is really being able to acknowledge those things so that what you genuinely want for yourself in this life, you can call into existence. So for just general overall happiness, and whether your happiness stems from materialism, whether your happiness stems from, seeing your family prospering, whether your happiness comes from whatever avenues you feel as though you need to take to make you happy. The only way you're going to be able to achieve that is by really mastering yourself, studying yourself. And a big part of that, family, that a lot of us want to run away from is self-discipline. In order for you to really receive a certain level of knowledge and a skill set to know how to carry on whatever it is that you expect in this life, you have to discipline yourself. So don't just meditate for one day and be like, oh, well, I don't really get it, it's not really doing anything for me, and giving up. This is a process, this is a journey, it's not ending, but you're never going to be great if you don't start from somewhere. Someone said, greatness is many small things done well. So if you believe that you are destined to be great, if you believe that you are destined to be successful, if you believe that you are destined to make a change in this world, if you know, yes, we're in the age of knowing now, right? You have to know these things in your heart, and you have to believe it. Once you believe that, then you can start checking yourself to see, well, if I know I'm meant to be great, well, what are the attributes of what it means to be great, and where am I at right now when it comes to meeting those attributes? And you make the conscious effort every day to work to be better. We all have expectations. We all want something for ourselves, and it's nobody's place to tell you whether what you want is right or what you want is wrong. It's all a personal choice, and it all stems from you knowing yourself and you willing to do the work to discipline yourself so that you can really achieve the goals that you want. So, family, that's the biggest thing that I can't stress enough, is really knowing thyself and having the courage to fight through the hard times, having the courage to not be distracted by life's distractions, and just really, really focusing on yourself so that you can get a general sense of fulfillment and of happiness and a peace of mind and spirit. Okay? Yeah. I hope that answered your question.
What was it, man? What's the passage? Ye are gods?
Know that ye are gods.
Know that ye are gods. Know that ye are the devil. Or like Jay-Z famously coined, the evils. Which is lived backwards.
Yeah.
Which means that thyself is a reflection of two polarities.
Yep, facts.
But do you know that? Do you know both? Do you know both persons? Are you intimately related, or are you intimate with both of them? Do you feed both of them? Does one rule the other, or is there a balance? If I were to get a Bentley today, a Bentley truck, they just came out, and I just went right to the dealer, and I didn't check out any of the amenities that it comes with. I just threw the key, push button start, and I just drove right off. But I didn't check out all of the little things that come with it. Right? So I'm not knowing the lengths, or I don't know the actual, all of the luxury that comes with this vehicle. I just know that it drives. You just know that you wake up. You know that you shit. You know that you eat. But you don't know everything about yourself. You haven't tapped into all of the amenities to that Bentley truck. You understand what I'm saying? You haven't tapped into, you haven't activated the Bluetooth yet. You understand? So you haven't tapped into your clairvoyance yet. Because if you don't know that you came from Nigeria, and if you didn't know what they did in Nigeria, or if you don't know that you came from the deep south where they was in the backwoods doing the hoodoo and whatnot, tapping into self, or higher self for that matter. You dig what I'm saying? And then you live in an age where everything is pointing in the direction of knowing everything outside of self. That's why social media is a detriment if you don't know what the fuck you're dealing with, because you're a follower.
Yep.
You just can't want to just hang out with a nigga. You just can't want to just be a person's friend. You got to be a follower. You know what I'm saying? Then you want to twerk like them. Then you want to talk like them. Real talk. Then you want to say shit that, then you want to call your girls, come here, hoe, come here, bitch. You know what I mean? Because you're repeating the ways that other women are doing it. Then when you get into a little spat with your sister, you spit at her, or you threw a fucking a sea moss at her, because that's what Jocelyn and them was doing last night. That's what they were doing on Black Ink and all of these other things. You've been indoctrinated to follow somebody who doesn't know themselves. And the way that society is set up, they will lift them up. They will reward ratchetness. They will reward niggatry, coonery, and nigritude in your face.
That's right.
And make you feel as if the pressure is so severe because the radio is saying that the dots are in. That's, you know what I'm saying? Because the World Star, the dots is heavy on there. Instagram, they got all of the followers. They go live and 800 people in 5 minutes. Well, they must be popping. They looking happy. They humping each other in the locker room and all of that. You know, what am I missing? But if you don't know yourself, if you don't know where you came from, if you have not studied the higher civilizations, because remember, if you ask a group of school children, or if you ask our people at any given time, where do their history start from? They said slave. I just came from down south. Black people relate to each other from slave to slave, and they relate to the white people from slave to master. It's simple. I peep, it's the simple fucking equation. They will not look at another man, a black man won't look at another man as slave to master. Even everywhere we are. They won't look at you as a master. Nigga, you're not my master. Master what? Master P? You're not a master to me. You a fucking slave. You're in the house or you're in the field. That's how they'll tear you down. They don't want to identify Kemet. They don't want to identify Moorish Spain. They don't want to identify Mansa Mali Empire. They're like, you can't be a master because you lost the war. Stupid shit. And then look at this Peckerwood, the have-not as their master. So, man, know thyself in all of the extremities. Know your weaknesses. Know what's going to make you lack self-discipline. Because like I said, I'm constantly struggling with that. Self-mastery and self-discipline. I'm a Scorpio. So you know we stay in our lower self. We got to pull ourselves up all the time. All right? So know your sign. Know your DNA. Know where you come from. My father, he did his DNA, Benin, Congo. I was like, damn, I was introduced to Palo before I knew that. So obviously my DNA is bringing me and pointing me in a direction where it's like, yo, we need this in order to wake more cells up. Right. So do your DNA. Do your charts. Get with Dr. Muhammad. Find her online. Do your name reading. You dig what I'm saying? Go and divine. Go amongst the diviners, the divination systems. Let them tap in. And then you'll be more satisfied. You'll be more concrete in your foundation as to who you truly are. You dig what I'm saying? And don't feel ashamed when your significant other puts the mirror up to you to show you who you are. Like she said, you are a reflection of them. I know people who broke up with the sister, like, this bitch think she know me and all that. Or the sisters is like, this nigga think he know me. He trying to tell me about myself. No, he does. He's trying to help you know thy fucking self because he sees something in your ass that you in denial about, that you don't want to admit. Look in the fucking mirror. Man, know thyself. Don't be upset. Why did you even link up with a person if you didn't want them to help you see who you are? Yeah, and on that note, love and light. Peace.
Thank you, family. Peace.
Peace, family. This brother Rich from UGR, urging all my viewers and subscribers to help support the channel by donating just $1 to the UGR PayPal account. We appreciate the viewership and support, and we understand the power of $1. If you benefit in any way, shape, or form, we ask that you donate $1, whether it be monthly, bi-monthly, quarterly, or yearly, so that we can build our brand to compete with the NBCs, the MTVs, and the Foxes of the world. I figure since Kanye could ask Mark Zuckerberg for $1 billion, I could ask my subscribers to donate $1 so I could make the best possible content possible. The main objective of this channel is to inspire you to become the greatest version of yourself. So hopefully throughout the years of you watching this program, you have been inspired to become the greatest version of yourself. If you would like to donate, you could go to www.paypal.com and send a donation to richandmerit7@yahoo.com. Thank you and enjoy the rest of your program.